Unfortunately, a man who is little known to you, but is a powerful chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, is being played for a fool. And he's a Republican. I'm going to read this article to you, and this is all over the media now. I'm going to read this to you. Headline: Egypt warned Israel 3 days before Hamas massacre, U.S. Congressman says. What? U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Michael McCaul, a Republican, told reporters on Wednesday that Egypt had warned Israel 3 days before Hamas's assault on southern Israel that, quote, an event like this could happen, unquote, according to U.S. media. There seems to have been a failure of intelligence, he said. We're not quite sure how we missed it. We're not quite sure how Israel missed it. After a classified briefing. Classified briefing by whom? Well, obviously, U.S. intelligence. We know that Egypt had warned the Israelis 3 days prior that an event like this could happen. We know this event was planned perhaps as long as a year ago, added the House Foreign Affairs Committee chairman. McCall's statements come after a series of reports that Egyptian intelligence officials had sent warnings to Israel ahead of Hamas's assault over the weekend. On Monday, the AP reported that an Egyptian intelligence official had said that Egypt had warned Israel repeatedly about, quote, something big, unquote, but that this warning was downplayed as Israeli officials were focusing on the West Bank. So Egyptian intelligence says it was downplayed because they were focused on the West Bank? We have warned them. An explosion of the situation is coming in very soon, and it would be big, but they underestimated such warnings, said the official, the Egyptian official, to the AP. On Tuesday, Al Monitor reported as well that senior Egyptian officials had warned Israel of an impending attack from Gaza, but that these warnings were not specific and not brought to the prime minister's attention. Now, how would the Egyptians know that? But let's go on. On Wednesday, the Financial Times cited two unnamed officials as stating that Egyptian intelligence repeatedly warned Israel that the situation in the Gaza Strip could explode. The officials added that there was no hard intelligence about a specific attack, and this was only a general warning. Now, why would Egyptian intelligence be leaking this all over America's media and worldwide media? The Prime Minister's office, this is at the very end of the story. That would be Netanyahu. The Prime Minister's office has denied the reports, calling them, quote, absolutely false, unquote, and stressing that, quote, no message in advance has arrived from Egypt, and the Prime Minister has neither spoken nor met with the head of Egyptian intelligence since the formation of the government, neither directly nor indirectly. Shouldn't that be the lead paragraph, Mr. Producer? So we have leaks by Egyptians to the media. Oh, we warned them what? We have three different scenarios here. And, of course, it's in the best interest of United States intelligence, which, of course, turned on Trump and so forth and so on, to point the finger elsewhere as well. Now, here's the deal, folks. This guy's the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. There's been no formal review. There's not been no interviews. There's been no investigation. There's been no discussion with the Israeli intelligence. We don't know what American intelligence knew or didn't know. There's been nothing. There hasn't been a hearing. Nothing. There's been a briefing. And this fool, the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, is all over the place saying, yes, the Israelis were warned by the Egyptians. Warned of what? We have three different scenarios. Let's say they were warned of something. And by the way, as a practical matter, you always get these kinds of warnings. We get them in the United States, too. Police departments get them. The FBI gets them. State troopers get them. Everybody gets them. But that's not the point. Why would the chairman, the Republican chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, make such a definitive, conclusive statement when absolutely no review has been conducted? Because he's being played for a fool. I've never been impressed by this guy. You've probably seen him on TV. He's a big rhino. He's weak. Not a particularly high IQ. You can tell when he talks. But, man, he's all over the place now. And why would he say this now when he doesn't have all the facts? Because he's being played. That's why. Maybe there was a failure of Israeli intelligence. Maybe they were told something by the Egyptians. What were they told? Who knows? Who told who? I don't know. But McCall knows everything because he was briefed by our intelligence for an hour or so. He knows everything. Well, what about our intelligence? What did we know? Apparently nothing. Well, why would the Egyptians just give this to Israeli intelligence and not to even American intelligence? We have troops in the region. We have a base in the region. Why wouldn't they tell us? I don't know. There's a lot we don't know. So why would this fool come out and make a definitive statement? Now, before he has all the facts, because he's a fool, that's why. If something was missed that should have been caught, that'll be dealt with, and should be. But McCall has no idea of the full or comprehensive extent of any information. He doesn't. Because our intelligence services don't even have it. Because the Israeli intelligence and U.S. intelligence, they're going to have to be reviewed by our government and the Israeli government. Let me suggest to you right now, the Israeli government is focused on one thing and one thing only: saving its country. Saving its country. So McCall coming out, popping off like this, without being fully informed. Well, we had a briefing. I don't know, did you have a briefing on Russia collusion? Did you have a briefing on the dossier? All kinds of briefings are taking place. That's not my point. My point is you got to wait to gather the information. And when you're the chairman of a powerful committee and you do something like this, you undermine our country and you undermine their country because you don't really know squat. That's why there are reviews after the fact. Military operations, intelligence operations. How did we miss this? How did we miss that? You don't just pop off because the Egyptians are putting out all this information and he had a briefing from U.S. intelligence and, we saw this text and we saw that. You don't know a damn thing. You certainly don't know all of it, and you should know better than to gather all the information before you pop off. This is a dumb man. This is a rhino. He's absolutely in the wrong position as chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Absolutely in the wrong position. Then I watched an interview, I think it was with Cavuto, of Mark Warner. He's the chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. And at no time, in fact, let me change that. He defended the $6 billion going to the Iranians. They have the same talking points. Well, it's not really to the Iranians. It's not really our money. It goes in the account over here. It's not part of it. So why not freeze it? He didn't want to freeze it. Or he wouldn't be pinned down on it. Now, this is illustrative of something that's been going on all over the media with the Democrats and the liberals, even those who have condemned what's taking place, which isn't all of them. Some will condemn Hamas, but defend the Palestinians. Abbas, he's moderate. He's over there, the Palestinian. No, he's not. He's a terrorist. And we specifically passed laws that prevented him from giving enormous pensions to Palestinian terrorists from the Palestinian Authority who were slaughtering Jews and, by the way, Americans like Taylor Force. And so the United States Congress had enough of it. They passed the Taylor Force Act, which prevents hundreds of millions of dollars a year from going to the Palestinians, primarily the Palestinian Authority. Why? Because it gives pensions to terrorists. And the more Jews you kill, the bigger the terrorist pension. Shouldn't that be condemned, Democrats and liberals on TV? Shouldn't you condemn that? Because Donald Trump said, no, I'm signing that law. And Joe Biden said, guess what I'm doing? I'm contravening that law. And a federal judge basically ruled that yesterday. But the Democrats and the liberals on TV, the guests and the hosts, you don't hear crap about that. Now we have so-called moderate Democrat senators putting out almost exactly the same DNC written talking points. If Iran is found to have been involved in these terrorist activities against Israel, then we should freeze the $6 billion. Oh, how courageous. And their statements are almost exactly the same. Oh, that's very courageous. Cynically political, the worst kind. Okay. How come you don't issue a press release that states that the Biden administration, the Democrats, need to enforce the Trump sanctions, oil sanctions, that were placed on Iran, which enabled, when Biden reversed it, Iran to get $70 billion that it didn't have before, selling their oil to China and Venezuela and Russia and Syria to rearm itself and build up its terrorist war machine. How come you don't put out a statement condemning that? This is what I mean. How come I haven't heard a single Democrat liberal on any of the cable channels condemn that? And how come, having screwed this up, they're not demanding right now that Biden enforce those sanctions? Where's that press release? Where's that statement, liberals and Democrats on TV? Nowhere. Nothing. And how many liberals and Democrats on TV have condemned Joe Biden for the murder of 100,000 American citizens as a result of fentanyl coming over our open border? Or the rapes and the murders and the sex slavery? How come they don't put out a statement? Or how come the Democrat liberals on TV don't say, okay, I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal, we need to reverse course, secure the damn border, we see what's happened in the Middle East now and in Israel and so forth? Nothing. Zippo. Why is that? Because you're a Democrat first. Country second. Our country second. Every other country. Second, third, fifth, doesn't matter. Because that's your religion. That's your faith. That's your ideology. It's always about power. Regardless of the costs. And so now what we're hearing is, from people like that, the atrocities are horrific, monstrous. You mentioned Biden, and the Praetorian Guard steps in. No, you don't understand. You don't understand. What don't we understand?